Have you ever looked at your life and thought, whose life am I actually living? You follow the rules, you do what's expected, you check all the boxes, good partner, good parent, good employee, good friend. And yet, there's a whisper inside you that won't shut up. A voice that says, this isn't it. I was meant for something more. I feel wild, but I'm living tamed. This voice isn't crazy. It isn't reckless. It's you. The real you trapped beneath a life you were taught to perform. Now imagine spending decades following the script only to realize the freedom you longed for was always inside you. That's what this book is about. This is not a guide. It's not a manual. It's a revolution of the soul. Glennon Doyle burned her life to the ground to find truth. She stopped pleasing, performing, and pretending, and she started feeling, knowing, and living. In this video, we're going deep through every chapter, every truth bomb, every fire Glennon walked through so you can remember your wildness too. Welcome to Untamed. Untamed is written by Glennon Doyle, a New York Times best-selling author, activist, and speaker. But more than that, she's a woman who walked away from the illusion of a perfect life to finally tell the truth. This book isn't about her being a hero. It's about how she got free, and how you can too. Part memoir, part manifesto, Untamed is a radical wake-up call to stop living according to what the world demands and start living according to your own deep truth. Before we dive in, if you love bold, soul-shifting book summaries like this, click like to support the channel, subscribe to MystiWave, and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop of deep wisdom. Now, take a deep breath. We're going in. She realizes that her untaming must expand beyond herself. It must include the voices of those silenced longest. She challenges women. Who were you before the world told you who to be? And who suffers when you choose to remain obedient? Obedience is comfortable, but freedom, it's disruptive. And that disruption is the beginning of justice. And if we want to raise untamed children, we can't do it from within a cage. Next, Glennon redefines parenting from the ground up. In a world that tells parents to control, Glennon chooses to trust. She doesn't want to raise obedient children. She wants to raise awake, brave, and curious ones. But to do that, she must go first. Our children will only be as free as we are. Instead of saying, do this and don't do that, she asks her children to listen to their knowing. When her daughter asks if she looks pretty, Glennon responds, that's a great question. What do you think? She resists the urge to fix, to rescue, to mold. Instead, she models what it looks like to live truthfully. She redefines motherhood, not martyrdom, not performance, but alignment. A mother is a model, not a martyr. She stops living for her children and starts living alongside them. Because if her daughters see her sacrificing herself in the name of love, they will think that's what love is. But if they see her standing in her truth, they'll learn to do the same. But even when we free ourselves and raise truth tellers, the world still punishes women who break the mold. And Glennon, she's done apologizing. Chapter 9, Stop Asking Permission. There's a moment Glennon describes with fire. She was writing a post about racism, and a voice in her head whispered, don't rock the boat. Stay safe, be liked. She almost listened, but then she realized the boat was already rocking. She just hadn't been paying attention. So she posts anyway. And something breaks open. Glennon stops waiting for the world to validate her anger. She stops asking for permission to speak hard truths. She stops editing herself into something digestible. I will not stay quiet so you can stay comfortable. She realizes that women are trained to trade truth for approval, but every time she chooses approval, she loses herself. So she flips the script. If it's between being liked and being honest, choose honest. If it's between fitting in and showing up, choose showing up. Because the world doesn't need more likable women, it needs more honest ones. And now we move into the heart of the fire, where Glennon burns down her deepest fear. Chapter 10, Blow It All Up. This is the chapter where Glennon does the unthinkable. She tells her children she's leaving her father. She tells the world she's in love with a woman. She tells herself, I am not responsible for anyone's comfort but my own integrity. It's not about blame, it's about truth. And the truth is, she would rather risk everything than continue living a lie. The fallout is intense. Family, faith, friends, media, but she stands in the storm. Because truth, even when it costs you everything, is the foundation of freedom. She learns you can survive people being disappointed in you. You can survive being misunderstood, but you can't survive betraying yourself forever. So she blows it up, and from the ashes, she begins again. But freedom is not just a personal journey, it's a ripple. And now Glennon invites us, all of us, into the wild.
Chapter 1, The Cheetah. Our journey begins with a cheetah. Glennon visits a zoo with her children and watches an unusual performance. A cheetah named Tabitha is released into a field, but instead of hunting freely, she chases a pink stuffed bunny pulled by a jeep. It's called Cheetah Run, but it's not real. It's a show. The crowd cheers, Tabitha chases, and then it's over. Later, Glennon watches Tabitha pacing, looking past the fence, eyes fixed on the horizon. Something stirs in Glennon's chest. She sees herself in the cheetah. Tabitha was born wild, but trained to be tame. She was raised alongside a Labrador, taught to walk beside humans, rewarded for being obedient. But in that moment, pacing the fence, she remembers. She knew something unnatural had been done to her. She was pacing because she wanted to run, to hunt, to be wild again. And then comes Glennon's realization. She too was raised in captivity, by culture, by expectations, by fear. She had built a life around what others said was good: marriage, motherhood, religion. But inside, she felt caged. This metaphor becomes the foundation of the book. We are cheetahs. We were never meant to be tame. And so begins the unraveling. Glennon is no longer content to chase the pink bunny. She's ready to break the fence. But breaking the fence isn't just about running free. It means feeling everything you've been avoiding, even the pain. And that's where we go next. Chapter 2, Feel It All. When Glennon was 10 years old, she learned a dangerous lesson. Don't feel too much. It scares people. So she became a master of suppression. She binged, she purged, she numbed. She says, I didn't know how to live without anesthetizing myself. But now, in the process of waking up, she realizes that pain isn't the enemy. Numbing pain is. We live in a culture that teaches us to escape, scroll, drink, shop, achieve, perform. But Glennon says, feelings are for feeling. Even the awful ones. Especially the awful ones. She begins to let herself feel sadness, rage, desire, joy. Not just in passing, but all the way through. And what she finds is this: being fully human is not about feeling happy, it's about feeling everything. This is the first step to becoming untamed. You have to stop editing your emotions. You have to feel it all. But once you start feeling, you begin to hear. And what Glennon hears next changes everything. Chapter 3. The Knowing. After years of people-pleasing and pain-avoiding, Glennon begins to hear something unexpected. Not voices, not noise, but knowing. It starts when she begins to meditate. She sits still, closes her eyes, and listens, not to the world, but to herself. And there, beneath the noise, she hears it. A voice. Not loud, not forceful, but calm, clear, unmistakably hers. She calls it the knowing. It's not logical. It doesn't give explanations or justifications. It simply says, here is the truth. She realizes she's spent her life outsourcing decisions. What do people think? What would they want me to do? What would look best on the outside? But now she learns the most powerful tool a woman can have is her own intuition. It's not something you earn, it's something you uncover. And once she starts listening, she discovers the truth she's been avoiding. She doesn't want to be married to a man. She doesn't want to keep pretending. She doesn't want to keep chasing the pink bunny. She wants something wilder. And that wildness, it has a name and a face. And when she meets her, everything changes. Chapter 4. Abby. It happens unexpectedly. At a conference, Glennon sees her across the room. Abby Wambach, the world-famous soccer player. But this isn't just admiration, it's lightning. It's the knowing again, stronger than ever. There she is. There she is. There she is. It's not lust, it's not fantasy, it's recognition. In that moment, Glennon's entire life reframes. She realizes that every truth she's denied, every part of herself she's silenced, was leading her here. But there's a problem. She's still married. She has children. She has an image. She has expectations. And yet, she also has the knowing. My body knew before my mind did. She tells her sister, then her therapist, then her husband. It's chaos, grief, fear, but also freedom. For the first time in her life, she's not performing. She's being real. And that reality is terrifying, but sacred. Because Abby isn't just a love story. She's a mirror that reflects the real Glennon back to herself. But before freedom comes peace, there must be destruction. And Glennon, she's ready to burn it all down. Chapter 5. Let It Burn. Glennon writes, I used to think I was a failure for breaking my marriage. Now I see I was a truth teller. When a house is built on a faulty foundation, sometimes the only answer is to let it burn. That's what Glennon does. She lets the marriage burn. She lets the expectations burn. She lets her good mother identity burn. And from those ashes, she begins again. But here's what most people don't say. Burning your life down is not glamorous. It's not Instagrammable. It's gut-wrenching. You disappoint people. You get labeled selfish. You lose comfort. You grieve, even when you know it's right. But you also gain something priceless. Self-respect. You stop asking, what will they think? And start asking, what do I know? The difference is everything. And now, free from the cage, Glennon doesn't just escape, she starts imagining a new world. Chapter 6. Imagination. One night, Glennon asks her daughter a question. What is the truest, most beautiful story you can imagine for your life? That moment becomes a compass, because we are trained to ask, what is realistic? What is responsible? What's expected? But Glennon flips it. What if the most responsible thing is to live in a way that makes your soul come alive? She learns that imagination is not childish. It's a revolutionary act. Because to imagine a new life, a wilder, freer, and more honest one, is to declare, the old life is not enough. She imagines being with Abby. She imagines writing the truth. She imagines raising her kids with love, not fear. And slowly she builds that life, not by force, but by faith. But not everyone wants you to live free, especially not the systems that profit from your obedience. Now Glennon turns her fire outward. Chapter 7. Racism, Sexism, and the Cost of Obedience. Now that Glennon is unlearning the personal cages she's been taught to live in, she starts to see the larger cages around her. Because this isn't just about one woman waking up, it's about all the systems that taught her to sleep. She begins questioning. Why was she taught to be small while men were taught to be loud? Why did she believe her worth came from being liked, not being true? Why did she trust white comfort over racial justice? She begins doing the hard work, reading, listening, unlearning. She calls out her own conditioning as a white, straight-presenting woman. She names the harm of white feminism that centers convenience over equality. There is no liberation for me if it doesn't include everyone else.
Chapter 11. The New Wild World. After burning it all down, Glennon doesn't rebuild the old life. She creates a new one that doesn't require her to shrink, lie, or hide. She and Abby start building a blended family. It's messy, it's imperfect, but it's real. Glennon discovers that life outside the cage is unpredictable, but also sacred. She writes, "Freedom is not being without a master. Freedom is trusting yourself to be your own." In this new world, she no longer waits for permission. She no longer needs to be understood by everyone. She becomes her own compass, her own guide, her own source. It's not about having the answers. It's about living in a way where truth leads. And the beautiful irony? The world she was so afraid of entering is the world she was always meant for. But it's not enough to be brave in private. Next, Glennon steps into her full power in front of the world. Chapter 12. Being brave in public. As Glennon steps into visibility, the spotlight follows. Media coverage, criticism, praise, pressure. She realizes when women become visible, they become vulnerable. But she chooses to keep showing up anyway. Why? Because being untamed is not just personal, it's political. It's about being brave out loud, so others feel less alone. She launches a nonprofit. She speaks out on racism, LGBTQ+ rights, addiction, motherhood. And the hate comes, so does the love. But most importantly, she doesn't back down. Bravery isn't something you have, it's something you practice. And so she practices. She learns to say hard things. She learns to take up space. She learns to stand, even when her voice shakes. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision that truth is more important than fear. And now we reach the heart of it all, the final liberating truth that ties this journey together. Chapter 13. The Final Liberation. In the final chapters, Glennon brings us back to the beginning, to the girl inside the cage. to the woman who remembered she was a cheetah. She writes, "I will not become less wild so people can love me. I will love myself so fiercely that others will have no choice but to meet me there or walk away." This is the final liberation, belonging to yourself, not to your partner, not to your family, not to your job, not to the roles you've outgrown, to yourself. Glennon talks about the false selves we build, the good girl, the perfect wife, the selfless mother, the successful woman, all masks, all armor. And when you take them off, yes, people may not recognize you, but for the first time, you will recognize yourself. You are not crazy. You are a goddamn cheetah. And that right there is the heartbeat of the book. You've always been wild. You've always been powerful. You've just been taught to forget. Untamed is not about changing yourself. It's about remembering yourself. And now let's bring it all home. One last reflection to carry with you as you step outside the cage. Conclusion: run like the cheetah. Here's what Untamed dares to ask you. Who were you before the world told you who to be? What truth have you been silencing inside yourself? What would happen if you stopped performing and started becoming? This book doesn't give you steps. It doesn't offer a formula. Because Glennon knows, the truth isn't out there. It's inside you. Your knowing is already whispering. You've just been trained to ignore it. Now is the time to return. To your body, to your voice, to your wild. Because you are not broken. You are not too much. You're not crazy. You are a cheetah. Born to run, born to trust yourself, born to be free. If this story stirred something inside you, if you felt seen, heard, or awakened, like this video to let the algorithm know it matters. Subscribe to MystiWave for more book summaries that speak to your soul. And hit the bell icon so you never miss a drop of wisdom again. Also, leave us a comment. What truth are you ready to finally tell? We read every single one. Remember, this is not just a YouTube channel. It's a place where wild hearts come home. This is MystiWave. Simple stories, deep impact. See you in the next one.